Hello and welcome to That's a Wrap, a roundup of movie news from the past week. I am Joe Kohle. Here is what we are working on for you today. I will be joined by senior host at Collider, Perri Nemiroff. We will discuss Marvel Studios' San Diego Comic-Con presentation and all that it revealed about the future of the MCU. We will also have a picks preview today. Perri and I will share our thoughts on the recently released trailer for the Thomas Crown Affair, and we will wrap things up with what to watch. This week, we are highlighting the film Spider-Man Brand New Day, which released in theaters nationwide today. And just a reminder, if you miss an episode of the show when it premieres on the Pix11 Plus live stream channel at 9:30 p.m. Eastern, you can always watch it later on Pix11.com or on Pix11's YouTube channel. You can find every episode on the That's a Wrap page at Pix11.com. If you're watching on YouTube, and you aren't subscribed to Pix11's YouTube channel, make sure to hit the subscribe button so you never miss a new episode. And if you enjoy the show, please give this video a like and leave a comment. Feel free to let me know what movie news stories or topics you'd like to see covered in a future episode. All right, let's now bring in senior host at Collider, Perri Nemiroff. Perri, thank you so much for coming back on the show, for joining us again. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. Love catching up with you.
Oh, that's nice to hear. And we are going to begin today with the continuing box office success of Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey. This week, the film surpassed $700 million at the global box office after just 12 days in theaters. It's expected to reach $1 billion in the coming week. According to Deadline, the movie earned $90 million in North America in its second weekend. For Nolan's best second weekend ever at the domestic box office, it also ties with 2022's Top Gun: Maverick for the 12th best sophomore frame of all time. And it earned the second best weekend ever for an R-rated movie behind 2024's Deadpool and Wolverine, and is now the highest grossing R-rated movie of the year. Domestic ticket sales for the film declined just 27% from its $123.5 million debut. The Odyssey also achieved another record-breaking weekend for IMAX. IMAX says the film had the highest-grossing second weekend in the company's history with $48 million worldwide, down just 8% from its $52 million opening weekend, and giving the IMAX global network its third highest-grossing weekend of all time. In its debut weekend, The Odyssey earned IMAX its second highest-grossing weekend of all time. The movie surpassed $100 million in IMAX global box office in just 10 days, becoming the second fastest film in IMAX history to reach the milestone. And The Odyssey also earned $5.2 million from IMAX 70mm screenings in its second weekend. And this week, Universal and IMAX extended the availability of IMAX 70mm screenings of the film into mid-September amid historic demand. I saw people in AMC Lincoln Square trying to buy tickets there because the AMC app kept crashing. So people were like, let's just go right to the theater. And there were lines of people waiting. And the movie is continuing its global IMAX rollout with upcoming releases in South Korea, China, and Japan. According to Variety, IMAX China is preparing to dedicate the majority of its nearly 800-screen network to The Odyssey when it opens in the country on August 14th. Perri, this is your first time back on the show since the release of The Odyssey, so I would love to hear your thoughts on the film and what you make of its success at the box office.
This is so wonderful. Also, hearing you reference the lines at the AMC Lincoln Square makes me really happy because I took my dad to my screening there, and admittedly, it wasn't the ideal day and time for him, but like he wanted to go see the movie. He wanted to share the experience with me. And the other day he calls me and is like, I'm so glad I said yes to that. One, because he loved the movie, but now he's hearing like what a hot commodity those tickets are. So I think he's just feeling so lucky and grateful that he got to experience The Odyssey that way. And
you didn't see it at 3 a.m., did you?
No, we went at 10 o'clock in the morning on a Monday morning. Admittedly, I was spoiled, and that was when my press screening was so that I could cover the film. And I was lucky enough to be able to take him with me because he loves movies, and he in particular just like loves going to them with me. And this was one that was really important for me to share with him because I had a feeling he was going to love it as much as he did. And like, I loved it too. And like, what a wonderful thing when you see a movie that you know deserves all the attention in the world and you just see it crushing box office records left and right. And also knowing that this is somewhat following in the footsteps of Oppenheimer. The movie is going to have the longest legs at the box office. It's already proving that. And then on top of that, it's going to extend far beyond a typical theatrical run because of all the Oscar attention this movie is going to get. So really, I think any kind of box office success like this is great for the industry overall. And thinking about jumping from, how something like Obsession did to how something like The Odyssey is doing, and knowing we have another box office smash hit on the horizon this weekend, like movies on the big screen are thriving. Like this is coming from people prioritizing seeing a movie on the big screen in a packed house. That's wonderful.
Yeah, that box office hit coming up this weekend in Spider-Man Brand New Day. We will be talking about that later in the show. I made my thoughts on The Odyssey known last week. I absolutely love the movie too. It's just, I'm not surprised how well it's doing at the box office, but the fact that it crossed 700 million in 12 days and that it's, Oppenheimer obviously did incredibly well, especially for a film that's just basically people talking in rooms. A biopic, a historical biopic, but the fact that this is getting to 1 billion so quickly and it hasn't even released in a lot of other territories, it's just, it really speaks to the power of Nolan. It's really wild, and it's great to see that the world is enjoying the film so much.
It's the real deal. And while I don't want to take away from Christopher Nolan's success with this, just because of what we're talking about later, think about the year that Tom Holland is about to have.
Yeah, that's like historic stuff, probably combining both of those two films. All right. So speaking of Marvel, let's now turn to Marvel Studios making its highly anticipated return to Hall H on Saturday with a 40-minute presentation at this year's San Diego Comic-Con. It was led by Marvel Studios president and producer Kevin Feige, and it included an Avengers Doomsday panel, the announcement of an all-new Ghost Rider film starring Ryan Gosling, and the reveal of David Johnson as the new Black Panther. The presentation began with Feige introducing a trailer for the Avengers Endgame re-release, dubbed Endgame Encore. Directors Joe and Anthony Russo announced that the September 25th re-release will include brand new footage and feature an exclusive sneak peek at Avengers Doomsday. Then Feige revealed that Marvel Studios has started working on a new Ghost Rider film before welcoming its star Ryan Gosling to the stage, as well as its director Sean Levy. Gosling and Levy recently collaborated on the upcoming Star Wars Starfighter, which releases on May 28th of next year. The film's screenwriter, Jonathan Tropper, will be writing the screenplay for Ghost Rider, which is slated to release in 2028. The cast and the filmmakers behind Avengers Doomsday later took the stage. The Russo brothers, who are returning to the MCU to direct Doomsday, were joined by Robert Downey Jr., Chris Evans, Pedro Pascal, Paul Rudd, Anthony Mackie, Simu Liu, and many other cast members, including Haley Atwell, confirming that she will be reprising her role as Peggy Carter in the film. And a new trailer for the movie featuring exclusive footage was shown to fans inside Hall H. Marvel's presentation ended with Ryan Coogler taking to the stage to announce that he will return to the MCU to direct a third Black Panther film. Coogler then brought out cast members Letitia Wright and Winston Duke, who confirmed the film will arrive in theaters on December 15th, 2028. The filmmaker then revealed Johnson as the new Black Panther. He will be playing T'Challa II, the grown son of the character portrayed by the late Chadwick Boseman. He was first introduced as a child at the end of 2022's Black Panther Wakanda Forever. Perri, based on everything Marvel unveiled at Comic-Con, how are you feeling about the future of the MCU? What excited you the most about this presentation?
So admittedly, I'm a little mixed in this zone right now. Before Comic-Con even happened, of course, we saw the Avengers Doomsday trailer, and admittedly, I've been kind of critical of the promotion for that movie in general. I was a little frustrated by the chair event. It felt, a little bit like it was stringing along an announcement that could have been made in a flash, even though I kind of understand the itch to build hype. And then when I saw this trailer jumping forward a good deal in time, there was just something about it that didn't feel like a trailer that upped my hype for the movie or felt like it was immersing me in the story that I was eventually going to get. It felt a little bit like, look at all these cool things we could do. And that's not what interests me in marketing campaigns. I want to know what you're going to do with this movie that justifies bringing all these characters back together again, and something that's going to further the story of the MCU. And thus far, I have not seen enough of that from the Doomsday marketing campaign. So,
are you talking about the trailer that played at Comic-Con or the one that was released?
I was not in that room.
Oh, okay, so you're talking about the one that was released because, okay. Copy.
Whatever was released online is what I've seen thus far, and it's not quite doing it for me.
Yep.
So, anything that came out of that room, Doomsday was not the thing that got me the most hyped for the future of the MCU. However, that is not the case for the announcement of the Ghost Rider film or Black Panther 3. I'll start with Black Panther 3 because David Johnson is one of my favorite working actors right now. I think he has all the promise in the world. If you look at his filmography, like, dude has range for days. I sincerely believe he could do just about anything. In case you missed his most recent films, he is just staggeringly impressive in The Long Walk. And he also just had a movie called Waste Man come out where he's absolutely phenomenal. And then jumping over to Ghost Rider, I really liked the personal emphasis on that announcement and promoting the film, just how tied to that character Ryan Gosling is. I love the idea that his Starfighter collaborators are going to be reuniting with him for that film. There's something about that storyline behind the scenes that really speaks to me and gives me a lot of faith in that movie. So again, right back to where I started with this commentary, like, I'm mixed. And also I want to say that I'm not judging. I don't want to judge Doomsday too much before I actually see the finished film, because that's what it all comes down to. But, marketing campaigns are important. And with something like that, I want to see an increase in hype every single step of the way. And I have not quite felt that yet.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with you on all points about Doomsday. David Johnson, I mean, yeah, he was one of the breakout stars from the show Industry. He was incredible in Alien Romulus. I was like, whoa, when I saw that performance. And then The Long Walk just kind of continued that, was also incredible. So I think it's a really great casting that seems to be getting a lot of praise. So I'm looking forward to that. But I wanted to focus on Gosling. He mentioned, as you alluded to, he mentioned during the presentation that Ghost Rider is a character that he wanted to play for a long time. In an interview with Empire, Kevin Feige revealed that the Ghost Rider movie moved ahead after a pitch from Gosling, saying, quote, "It was Gosling who had the pitch. It was Gosling who had the pitch that won over Sean, that had them come and pitch us this idea, which led to us on stage today." In an interview with comicbook.com, Feige said about Gosling, he is a huge fan of the comics. He did come to us with a specific vision based on some particular comics. And in an interview with Josh Horowitz, Feige revealed that Marvel has had discussions with Gosling for years about him joining the MCU, and that the actor has spoken with the studio about a number of things over the years that didn't work out, but that he was never shy about saying the character of Ghost Rider was his favorite. Gosling being a fan of the character and the comics is what makes me most excited about him taking on this role, and about the prospect of this movie being one that fans will enjoy. I think there are some film fans who have bemoaned the state of Gosling's career over the past few years, with him choosing to be in projects that are a bit more populist and mainstream, like The Gray Man, Barbie, The Fall Guy, Project Hail Mary, Star Wars Starfighter, and now Ghost Rider, after he began his career in more indie films and projects that were more character-driven, that featured roles that one could argue are a bit more complex, like Half Nelson, Blue Valentine, Drive, The Place Beyond the Pines. A lot of the films from the beginning of his career featured performances from him that were a bit more understated. He has recently transitioned to making more franchise films, four-quadrant studio entertainment, where his performances have been a bit more broad, more comedic. And I think there are some cinephiles who think that he abandoned the artistic sensibilities that established him as a critical favorite and one of Hollywood's best actors. But I like and respect the way he has gone about his career, that he has shown that he has versatility to be both a capital A actor and a movie star. Barbie and Project Hail Mary, I think, are kind of the best of both worlds, where they are massive blockbuster films that are also auteur-driven, and I think his performances in those films showcase all the things that make him such a great actor and performer. So I'm excited to see him in a Star Wars film, in a Marvel film, but it seems as though there are some who aren't. What do you make of the way Gosling's career has evolved over the years?
I am always here to champion independent filmmaking and complex characters in maybe, more grounded stories. But ultimately, all I want is good movies. I don't care if it's a blockbuster movie. I don't care if it's a teeny tiny indie. I just want real good quality storytelling. And I think Gosling has delivered pretty consistently across the board, no matter the size of the movie that he's in. I mean, really, when you listed those movies at the beginning there, the only one that didn't quite work for me was The Gray Man. And that is pretty much inevitable with someone who is going to continue on to have a career and constantly dish out movies in this industry. You're never going to have, a filmography that's 100% winners. So I don't hold that particular one against him. But I am loving everything he is doing in recent years. And I'm also a very big fan of The Fall Guy. That was one of my favorite movies of, what was it? That one was 2024? 2025? What is time? Comic-Con has scrambled my brain, but that particular year, Fall Guy was one of my runaway favorites. And I'm a big fan of how he is he's using his ability to choose right now in this industry. Like he's earned that. And if he is going to sign on to a project, I'm willing to believe it's because he believes in it. And if he cares enough to sign on for something, I'm going to have a whole lot of faith in everything he chooses from here on out. It ties right back to what I said about Ghost Rider. It's why I have so much faith in Star Wars Starfighter. So I am a big fan of Gosling's filmography in general, and also with the path he's currently carving for himself.
Yeah, I love him as an actor and a performer. And we know from The Place Beyond the Pines that he has experience riding a motorcycle, so he might be able to bring that experience into Ghost Rider. Actually, a quick story that we probably don't have time for, but that one that I just really love.
I want to hear it.
I remember an interview with Derek Cianfrance. It may have been with DP30, the online interview series, where for Place Beyond the Pines, where he was talking about how Gosling was training to learn how to ride a motorcycle, and it was 8 weeks before they were supposed to start filming. And the stunt driver for the film was tasked with training Gosling, and Derek Cianfrance asked him, on a scale of 1 to 10, where does he fall in terms of how good he is at driving a motorcycle? He said like a 3. And then he said, okay, where do you think he can be in 8 weeks when we start filming? And he said, maybe a 3.5 or a 4. Like, this is like learning how to play an instrument. Like, it takes years and, thousands of hours to master doing this, to get to a place where you're at that level. And then the 8 weeks of training happened. A day before filming, Derek Cianfrance asked him, so where is he at? And he said he's at a 7. And Derek Cianfrance said it just speaks to the reality that is Ryan Gosling can do things that normal people can't do, and that he is a magical person. And I think the same could be said about the way he learned how to play piano for La La Land. All the being the same person who gave like one of the most iconic performances in Oscars history, I'm Just Ken performance. It's just like, this is a guy who can just do so much, and it seems like everything he does, he does it well. So yeah, I just love that story because it just speaks to what an incredible person he is. So yeah, I'm excited to see him do Ghost Rider and to see him continuing to do more and more in his career. We are going to take a quick break though. When we come back, Perri and I are going to share our thoughts on the recently released trailer for the Thomas Crown Affair. Stay with us. Welcome back. I'm still here with senior host at Collider, Perri Nemiroff. It is time now for Picks Preview, where we break down the latest trailers and teasers for some of Hollywood's most anticipated films. On Wednesday, Amazon MGM Studios released the official teaser trailer for the Thomas Crown Affair. The romantic heist movie stars and is directed by Michael B. Jordan from a screenplay co-written by Drew Pearce and Jason Hall. It marks the second feature film directed by Jordan, following 2023's Creed 3. The movie's cast also includes Adria Arjona, Kenneth Branagh, Lily Gladstone, Danai Gurira, and Aubrey Plaza. It is the second remake of the 1968 film of the same name, following the first remake released in 1999. The trailer for The Thomas Crown Affair debuted at CinemaCon in April during the presentation from Amazon MGM Studios, which kicked off with a musical performance by John Baptiste to announce that he will compose the film's score. During the presentation, Jordan said about the project, "I've been daydreaming about making this movie for years." He also praised Arjona as an incredible scene partner. The Thomas Crown Affair is set to release in theaters and in IMAX on March 5th, 2027. Perri, what did you think of this trailer?
This is my kind of piece of promotional material. Much respect to the previous versions of Thomas Crown Affair, but when I heard about this movie, I can't say I was like super hyped. Like anything that involves this group of talent, I'm going to want to see it, but it's not something that was, let's say, one of my most anticipated movies of the year kind of thing. This trailer changed the game a little bit. First off, big fan of Michael B. Jordan, similar to Ryan Gosling. If he believes in something enough to want to direct it and star in it, I am going to be interested. And then I see just like how he carries himself in the footage and also how much his visuals have evolved. Like there are some stunning shots in this trailer. And also whoever edited this trailer, like big old claps for you, because this thing pulled me in and took me along for the ride so incredibly well. When this trailer was over, I was like, I am bummed that I'm not getting more of this movie right now. I cannot wait for the full feature to release. And that is the exact kind of reaction I want from a trailer.
Trailer editors are been going crazy recently. It's like a real art, and it's just they do a really good job at selling these films for sure.
I wish the people that worked on the trailers got like some sort of like credits at the end, or even just leave that kind of information in a YouTube description section or something, because this was a really well put together piece of promotional material.
I saw a lot of the reaction on social media being like, "Oh, it's clear that Michael B. Jordan is a fan of Tenet." Drawing comparisons to that film, and it obviously has Kenneth Branagh as well. I liked Creed 3, the direction, his direction of Creed 3, especially a lot of the fight scenes, a lot of the boxing scenes. So it seems like his skill in directing those scenes in Creed 3 kind of will extend to the action scenes in this movie and just the overall aesthetic of the film. I'm excited to see the pairing of him and Adria Arjona. I'm in. This is like it has a very James Bond feel. I'm definitely looking forward to it. And it's cool that after he won the Oscar for Sinners, Academy Award winner, Michael B. Jordan, and now he is starring in this cool film that he's both starring in and directing, and making good choices. You know what I mean? I'm really excited to see it for sure.
Right there with you.
Yeah. All right. So we are going to take another quick break. We're going to talk about Spider-Man. Brand New Day when we come back, a new movie to watch in theaters this weekend. Perri and I have both seen it. We will share our thoughts on the film. That's after a quick break. Welcome back. Senior host at Collider, Perri Nemiroff, is still with us. It is time now for What to Watch, where we put the spotlight on movies hitting both theaters and streamers. Today, we are highlighting Spider-Man Brand New Day. This is the film's official synopsis. It's a brand new day for Peter Parker fighting crime full-time as Spider-Man in a world that doesn't remember him. And the pressure of seeing his old friends move on without him sparks a change in Peter he may not have the power to control, but that transformation might also be the only thing that can stop a shocking new threat to the city and those he loves, a powerful villain no one can even see. The world may have forgotten Peter Parker, but he hasn't forgotten them. Tom Holland is back as Peter Parker. Brand New Day is the fourth standalone Spider-Man movie in the MCU. It is the first Spider-Man movie starring Holland since 2021's Spider-Man No Way Home. He also starred as the title character in 2017's Spider-Man Homecoming and 2019's Spider-Man Far From Home. The film is Holland's 7th appearance in the MCU. No Way Home also brings back Zendaya as MJ and Jacob Batalon as Ned. Mark Ruffalo is returning to the MCU in this film as the Hulk, and Jon Bernthal is making his official MCU big screen debut as the Punisher, and Michael Mando is reprising his role as Scorpion after first appearing in Homecoming. The cast also includes Sadie Sink, Tramell Tillman, and Liza Colon-Zayas. Perri, what did you think of this movie?
I loved Spider-Man Brand New Day. I have really enjoyed every single installment of the Spidey series within the MCU. And I'm also a big fan of director Daniel Destin Cretton. So I wasn't all that surprised to like the movie, but it so far exceeded my expectations. When I look at this movie and the success of it, it's almost like I think it works really well standing on its own 2 feet. One thing I think they did really well as far as the writing goes is working in references to past events. So it doesn't feel like, let's stop and remind you what happened and why these characters feel this way. But it felt very naturally woven into the story. So I do think that this movie can work for everybody, whether you're a hardcore fan or you're not. But as someone who has been following these characters from film to film, I think this movie really well represents how successful they have been in terms of building these characters as individuals, but also as a group of friends who deeply rely on each other and love each other. I think this narrative can only work with that kind of foundation, and I very much think they have it. Some of that stuff that takes place with Tom Holland, Zendaya, and Jacob Batalon, I couldn't believe how emotional it made me. I don't want to reveal specifics, of course, but there's a scene that happens in the middle of the movie where, again, I was emotional throughout this film at various points. There's one particular scene that happens near the midpoint where, like, I was a little worried that I wouldn't be able to turn the waterworks off. And it was something that caught me off guard, not a scene that revealed itself to be like, this is the moment that's going to get you, but it's just something that happens and the tears started flowing and I didn't know if I was going to be able to rein it back in. And then to flip that around a little, Sadie Sink has her work cut out for her in this movie. Again, I think a lot of the success of this movie is standing on the foundation of what they've already established. And here she is, forget my phrasing, but a brand new character in this franchise. And she's got a narrative that really demands a top tier actor who's able to convey a lot with less screen time than others, and also a character whose success really hinges on someone being able to convey the maximum with a deeply internal performance. I think that's of the utmost importance to that particular character. And my God, she just soars while doing that. And then Jon Bernthal, too. For anybody who has been looking forward to the buddy element of seeing Spidey and the Punisher side by side, like, that's another thing that just so far exceeded my expectations. So, I mean, really, I could just run down a whole list of things where I'm like, I had a feeling that would be good, but they wound up delivering above and beyond anything I thought.
Yeah, I love the film as well. I definitely think that the Spider-Man Punisher pairing, the Tom Holland, Jon Bernthal pairing was maybe the best part about the film, where it was like really, really, really great. And it makes sense that they had such good chemistry because they first worked together in a while ago. They shot each other's audition tapes for Spider-Man and the Punisher. They've been friends for a while. Obviously, they're in the Odyssey together this summer. So yeah, that was an aspect of the film that was that really hummed, in my opinion. And yeah, Tom Holland as both Spider-Man and Peter Parker, playing both of those roles, because there's been some commentary about, like, you know, this actor was great as Peter Parker, but maybe not as great at Spider-Man, or vice versa. And I think he has been the best at playing both. And I think that's really evident in this film. And I just think, listen, I'm just going to be upfront. There are some people who were critical of his performance in the Odyssey. There are some people who have been critical of him as an actor. And I think that this film, his performance is incredible. And I think anyone who has ever had anything negative to say about his ability as an actor should should count themselves fools, especially after this film. I think he is fantastic in this movie. Like, maybe his best performance in any of the 4 Spider-Man movies, and I think his performance in No Way Home was incredible too, and not talked about enough about what he did in that film. So I was a real fan of it, and it seems like a lot of other people are. You have anything to comment on based on what I just said?
I'm like bursting at the seams because as you're also explaining this, I'm realizing like there's so many other wonderful things that I didn't get to emphasize. The way you're talking about Tom Holland, though, being a really great Spider-Man and also Peter Parker brought my mind back to the fact that so much of this movie that was done practically in terms of the effects work, just like how much that lets him sing as a Spider-Man actor, just in terms of like wearing the suit and knowing it's really him. But also I think it speaks to just how exceptional the stunt work is in this movie. And then I started to think about that. And then it brought me to one of my favorite things in this movie. And I have to talk about it vaguely because I don't want to reveal anything too soon. But there's one particular stunt that's like an all hands on deck kind of achievement where the stunt performers and their movements need to be so incredibly precise. And then the camera work has to pair with that perfectly. It's just like, that's a prime example to me of like, it takes a village when you make a movie, and the way that every member of that cast and crew came together to make that particular thing feel so believable, sincerely just blew my mind.
Are you talking about something near the end of the film?
I'm talking about something that happens quite a bit throughout the film.
Okay, fantastic. Yeah. I thought all the action
I feel like
was
the
great.
fact that you don't know what I'm talking about means I did a terrible job of explaining.
No.
At
I
the
mean,
very
you have
least, I'll tell you what it is after we're done
Okay, yeah, I
recording.
appreciate you being vague. I don't want to spoil anything as well. The other thing is there has been some criticism of the film about how some like that it's, a very Spider-Man focused film, but as a film in the MCU, there are still things in the film that made it have to connect to all these other projects. And as a standalone Spider-Man movie, they still felt like I'm trying to be vague as well without going into specifics, things that were maybe setting up other films or things that like took away from the focus of it just being on Spider-Man. But I think that's what an MCU film is. It's going to have those elements. And I think they interwove all those parts well into the aspects of the film that focus on Spider-Man. And I think the way those, I'm speaking so broadly, the way those parts of the film that were more broader things about the MCU, I think those connected to the idea of what Spider-Man represents in a way that worked. Specifically, Sadie Sink's character. I would say. I think that some people were like, why is this character in a Spider-Man movie? But I think it makes sense. I don't think it seemed shoehorned in at all.
Oh, no. Oh my God, no. Shoehorned is like the last word in the world or term I would use to describe that. I think that character very much earned her place in this particular narrative all on her own. And that's a reason why I emphasize the success of Sadie Sink's performance. But also I think that particular character and what she's going through really bolstered Spider-Man Peter Parker's journey in the film.
Yes,
so
you just said that so much better.
Like it was not only justified, but I think it was necessary here. And that's the reaction I want to have whenever you have new franchise characters introduced via a film like this.
Yeah. All right, quickly. According to Variety, Spider-Man Brand New Day set a record-breaking $72 million in Thursday previews, the most of any movie in history, beating the previous record held by 2019's Avengers Endgame. Variety also says that the film is projected to open with $260 to $280 million at the domestic box office, and that some more bullish box office estimates are suggesting that a start over $300 million is possible. The outlet also says the film is expected to earn at least $275 to $300 million at the international box office in its opening weekend, which would put projections for its worldwide debut at $545 to $580 million. That would give Sony its second best global opening ever, only behind No Way Home. Globally, Homecoming grossed a total of $880 million. Far From Home earned $1.13 billion, and No Way Home made $1.9 billion. So, Perri, based on the projections for Brand New Day, where in that range do you see the film falling when it comes to its overall global box office haul. And what do you think that the film's record-breaking Thursday preview performance and its projected opening weekend numbers say about the power of Spider-Man as a cinematic property?
I am going on the higher end of every single prediction range that I've seen thus far. So am I mathing right? That would take me somewhere close to like 600 million for the global opening weekend. So I think this movie is going to do very, very well. I have no doubts about that whatsoever, especially with these early reports coming out. The one thing I will say for its legs, especially because with these early reports, we're getting a lot of Avengers Endgame comparisons. I don't necessarily think this is going to play the long game as well as a movie like that. And again, I think it's probably abundantly clear, but I will stress before I say this next point, I thought Brand New Day was fantastic. I cannot wait to watch it again. I thought it had so much depth and texture that I really wanted to see in a new Spider-Man story. Avengers Endgame had a couple of heavy cheer moments where it left people with the feeling, myself included, that I had to go back to the theater to see that moment with a crowd again and again and again. And I think Spider-Man has some of those moments, but not in the same way. So I don't necessarily think it's going to go on to match that movie on its overall run, but I have all the faith in the world that it's going to play real damn big opening weekend and probably the first few weekends of its release. It just won't have the same kind of legs, but it's going to have very strong legs.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if it can get to where even No Way Home was. No Way Home up, 1.9 billion. I think Sony and Marvel will be very happy regardless. I think this is going to do very well. Perri, I was happy to have you back on the show. Great
transition.
Great segue. Yeah. For real though, I really appreciated you coming back on. It was nice to talk to you about all this news and about the films.
Couldn't agree more. Thank you for having me back.
Before we go, we have some stories from this week that were left on the cutting room floor that we didn't have time to get to. Paramount Pictures releasing the official trailer of Children of Blood and Bone. Sony Pictures Entertainment releasing the official trailer for Jumanji Open World. Deadline reporting that Neon is moving the film A Place in Hell, starring Michelle Williams and Daisy Edgar-Jones, from a Christmas Day release to April 23rd of next year. Focus Features announcing that it's acquired and set the North American release date for Elsinore, starring Andrew Scott and Olivia Colman. It will launch in select theaters on November 20th and expand to additional markets over the Thanksgiving holiday and throughout December. The Insider reporting and several major outlets confirming that Obsession star Michael Johnston is in early talks to join The Mummy sequel that will see the return of Brendan Fraser and Rachel Weisz. Deadline reporting that John Leguizamo is in negotiations to reunite with Matt Damon after starring together in the Odyssey for a role in the untitled event project from filmmaking duo The Daniels. Mahershala Ali confirming in an interview with GQ that he won't star in Marvel's Blade reboot and suggesting that the studio didn't want to move forward with the film, saying, quote, "For whatever reason, the project is not for me. They have billions of dollars. If they wanted to do the movie, they would have done the movie, so we're not doing the movie." Some other superhero movie news. Deadline reporting that Samara Weaving has been cast to play Emma Frost in Marvel's upcoming X-Men movie. And Obsession star Indy Navarrete confirming in an interview with Variety that she recently met with X-Men director Jake Schreier and suggesting that she would love to play the character of Mystique. All right, that does it for today's edition of That's a Wrap. Make sure to stay tuned for more on Pix11 Plus. I am Joe Kohle. Thank you for watching.